Senator Kristen Sinema, as we kind of alluded to, is opposing President Biden's tax hikes on businesses and high earners. She's one of a few in the Democrat Party. Capitalist pick hedge fund manager Jonathan Hoenig and National Taxpayers Union EVP Brandon Arnold are back again. All right, Jonathan. It seems to me that Senator Sinema is in a tough position. She's getting a lot of pressure. She doesn't want to tax the wealthy and the high earners, and that's basically what the Democrat Party is based on, it feels like.
Well, it's not just that Democrats want to tax the wealthy. They actually want to tax wealth creation. I mean, you tax business, you have capital gains. Isn't that what we want more of in this country? And, there's this perception, actually, certainly among Democrats, that, the wealthy have their money like Scrooge McDuck, in a big room. They're just swimming around all that gold. All those assets are invested into new jobs, new wealth creation. And that's the process, the productive process that's destroyed by all these Democrats' taxes.
And, Brandon, the point has to be made that, look, the wealthy earners, they pay their fair share of taxes. I mean, they pay a lot, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The wealthy pay a disproportionate amount of taxes. We live in a highly progressive country when it comes to our tax code. So the notion that they're not paying their fair share is baloney. What they want to do is squeeze every single nickel they can out of the wealthiest, out of the corporations and so forth. But what happens when you do that is you push assets overseas. You have something like a wealth tax, which is something that Elizabeth Warren has talked about. They don't work. What they do is they move assets. Wealthy people move assets to other countries, and America is worse off for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And to me, how can they not see that, Jonathan, that if you continue to go back to the well, eventually the well's going to, go dry by moving overseas, as Brandon just pointed out.
Well, I mean, it's almost like economics actually has been turned up on its head. For most of this country's history, there was a belief that wealth was created in the private sector. But, Biden and most Democrats believe that government spending is what creates wealth. And, of course, all of that spending is taken out of the private productive economy. I mean, they want, more Solyndras and less Amazons. I don't understand that at all. And that's exactly what these types of spending programs are all about. It's about hurting the rich. But you're not just hurting the rich. For example, the corporate income tax, actually, who's that paid for? It's paid for by employees in terms of lower wages and lower jobs. So, there is no such thing as a free lunch. You tax the so-called rich. You tax every American in the process.
That's very well put. And Brandon, look, it's the mantra of the Democrat Party, and in particular Joe Biden, as we know. How much do you think this could hurt him when it comes to the midterms next year? I mean, we're already seeing his approval ratings drop, and now we're seeing the Virginia governor's race in particular very close now in an area that Biden won by 10 points. So my question is, these policies, are they starting to turn the electorate off?
I think so. I think Joe Biden almost ought to hope that this bill does not pass, because if it does, we're going to see higher inflation. We're going to see household products go up even more than they already are going up. Even things like buying a pack of cigarettes or some tobacco products, prices are going to be absolutely through the roof. So this problem is going to make inflation much, much worse, and it'll probably hurt his approval ratings more than they're already hurt.
Jonathan, I wanted also to bring up the question. We were talking about oil earlier, and there's a lot less exploration going on as the global economy and the United States and the Biden administration pushes towards, electric vehicles. But my problem with that is that I just don't see the infrastructure in place for this massive uptake of electric vehicles. And in the meantime, we all have to continue to put gas in our cars. And to be honest with you, as Phil Flynn said, those prices are going to continue to go up and up and up.
Well, the hidden irony of all of that actually is, the electric powered cars, where does all that electricity come from? In most cases, it comes from coal. It comes from fossil fuels anyway. So it's essentially a big runaround for really no economic benefit and no environmental benefit at all. But, that idea of central planning, that government's going to decide how to heat our homes, how to educate our children, what kind of fuel to put in our cars, that has always ended in misproportioned wealth and misspent wealth. And that's exactly what you're going to see with all these incentives for so-called green energy on all these disincentives for fossil fuels.
I lived through a lot of those kind of thinking in the 1970s in the UK, and it was miserable, I can tell you that. Brandon, Jonathan, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Good stuff. Thank you.